So if you look at mainstream media or CT, एक फर्ज जो चल रहा है is that miners are abandoning Bitcoin and pivoting to AI. Now they're saying कि given the rates and the rewards and the cost, इन companies का survival जो है वो मुश्किल हो गया है, and all of them are just packing and leaving. But is it a death spiral or an evolution? And by signing these 10-year AI data center contracts, क्या miners एक ऐसी financial footing बना रहे हैं that will make them bulletproof to survive this period and at the same time secure the network for the next massive leg up? We'll be discussing this and a lot more. I have Narkundi and Realist with me. This is the Baaps of Crypto podcast. Let's go. Obviously, you had to do that, Narkundi. Thank you very much for the little gap, you know. बहुत दिन से मिस कर रहा था मैं कि तूने किया क्यों नहीं?
इतना अच्छा इंट्रो है कि 2 बार दिखाना पड़ा हम लोग को.
So yeah, okay. Before we start,
High
please
budget,
please like, share, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. And obviously, as usual, please abuse Narkundi in the comments.
I get only love in comments. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you're getting a lot of love in the comments. तू एक लौता है like yeah. We are all Narkundi करके मैं एक सोच रहा हूँ टी-शर्ट बनवा लूँ and like print it like we are all
I'm the eye candy in this
We are all, yeah.
podcast.
We are all NPCs. We are all Narkundis.
Yes. All right. I guess तुम लोग markets तो देख ही रहे होगे. It's the same sideways movement ही चल रहा है. And now, this is like, it's like same. The problem is right कि one of the things that I've been facing, or I don't know कि तुम लोग भी देख रहे हो ये कि it's just doom and gloom. You know, I have doom fatigue. कि सब कुछ उड़ने वाला है, दुनिया जाने वाली है.
And CT is also actually, as opposed to 2 months ago or even a month ago, like 10-10 के दिन में भी there was some amount of hope, right? Yeah. And going into December, Jan also there was hope, but now that hope has completely been killed since Feb and all, like Jan, Feb. जो बचे कुछ थे वो भी अब धीरे धीरे जा चुके हैं. So yeah, it's interesting to see what's happening, but yeah, let's see what happens. I have my own views, but
yeah, but this is also surprising because 2022 में when BTC was crashing to 16K, इतना नहीं था. It was not like this kind of doom.
Correct. We had FTX collapse. We had shit like Celsius go down and 3AC go down and so many things, right? But today's situation is 10x worse. That is the word. It is 10x worse.
And even if you वही यार fear and greed index भी जो हम देखते हैं वो एकदम single digit में आ गया है. Like उस time पे भी नहीं आया था. Like it was just unheard of.
में ना चले जाएंगे.
And one thing that I'm seeing right now is even if like for example an alt is even if an alt say pumps 10-20% or maybe BTC goes up 5-6%, ETH obviously mirrors BTC with a 5-6% move. पहले जो होता था ना जो सारी पार्टी अचानक से बुल बन जाती थी overnight. अभी वो भी बंद हो गया. And this is something that I've seen. Yeah, this is something that I'm seeing since the past 1 week. That ये जो थोड़े बहुत जो moves आ रहे हैं अभी, right? I mean, it's overall sideways, but जो थोड़े बहुत upward moves आ रहे हैं, like इसमें suddenly वो जो एक shift हो जाता था ना कि चलो बुल आ गया, अचानक से ऊपर वाले charts, अभी उल्टा है. अभी सब बोल रहे हैं कि भाई ये बस बुल के बाद अब नीचे ही जा रहे हैं. So that change has also happened, and predominantly everyone just out of CT right now. कोई अब सन्नाटा है एकदम.
मैं तो ट्वीट में फीड में ऐसे आ रहे हैं कि मेरे पास 2 सोल रिमेनिंग है. What should I do? भाई.
Correct. नहीं बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हो आप. I mean that's exactly what's happening right now. I mean there is complete in this past 1 week. I don't think I've come across any "we are back" post. Yeah. At least my feed isn't showing any "we are back" post. But अगर आपको याद है Jan से पहले even after 10-10 we saw these "we are back" posts. But post Jan Feb ये बंद हो गया. मतलब post अभी Feb तो चल रहा है but post Jan and the past 2 weeks ये खत्म हो गया.
Yeah. But even like in 2022, you used to hear this कि in the last cycle in 2018 and stuff कि
Yes.
एकदम से डेड हो गया था, सब अपने जॉब्स पे
Mhm.
चले गए थे और ये सब
This
हो
is
गया
that
था.
moment.
But this is that moment, right? Like we're
Correct.
mirroring that exactly.
Yeah. Like sentiment wise, now is when we are mirroring. Like price
Yeah.
action wise, तो पिछले 3 साल में हमने पता नहीं कितने बॉटम देख लिए हैं as per
Yeah.
analysts,
Yeah.
right? But सेंटिमेंट के चलते आई थिंक अब आफ्टर 2022 अब जाके वैसा सेंटिमेंट नजर आ रहा है where nobody is saying we are back.
Yeah.
Nobody is now bothered about any up move because वो up move अब अगर मान लो 10% भी चढ़ गया किसी को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है.
Yeah. They've all like obviously.
बेंजामिन
Yeah. Narkundi, please.
बोल बोल
नहीं नहीं बोल तू बोल.
नहीं बेंजामिन कोहेन का भी यही था ना कि मार्केट गिर जाती है मगर जो डिसबिलीफ होता है वो रहता है थोड़े टाइम तक कि नो वी आर
Correct.
नॉट इन अ बेयर मार्केट एंड
अभी yeah, I think
now
pretty much everyone's convinced.
Yeah. ठीक है. और इसी यही इसी सिनारियो को के को देख के एक वो माइनिंग वालों का भी फर्ज चल रहा है कि बीटीसी माइनर्स हैव नाउ abandoned बिटकॉइन एंड दे पिवटिंग टू एआई. सो मैं इस पे एक थोड़ा डेटा देख रहा था कि जो सम ऑफ द टॉप माइनर्स इन द यूएस है वो एक्चुअली में कर क्या रहे हैं कि व्हाई हैव दे लाइक कंप्लीटली अबैंडन्ड या जैसे कि लोग बीच बीच में पिवट कर जाते हैं वो कर रहे हैं. सो इट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग कि इनके जो टॉप माइनर्स हैं यूएस में, ठीक है, कनाडा में, यूएस में आयरन, हटेट, कोर साइंटिफिक, हाइव, मारा, राइट, these guys have all
पब्लिक
gone into
कंपनीज
like
में
a,
ये लोग
yeah, public
Yeah,
companies hai. These guys have all gone into a hybrid mode where what they're doing
yeah,
is कि AI companies से जो है obviously data centers के लिए बड़ी बड़ी डील कर रही हैं, जैसे
correct,
$7 billion हट एट का ये वो,
correct.
और साथ में अपना जो इनका जो बीटीसी माइनिंग वाला जो पूरा सेटअप है उसको भी वो कर रहे हैं ये लोग, क्या बोलते हैं कि ज्यादा अच्छा कर रहे हैं. So they'll have a setup which is like a hybrid kind of a setup for AI and BTC. इसमें सिर्फ
Yeah,
दो ऐसी कंपनीज हैं, जो एक बिट फार्म्स है और एक बिट डिजिटल है, that sold entire of their BTC positions. बिट फार्म्स ने 4,400 और बिट डिजिटल ने 1,000 BTC बेच के पूरा नया सेटअप बनाया फॉर AI. एंड बिट डिजिटल इज आल्सो होल्डिंग सम ETH actually from what I saw. बट ये एक चल रहा है. सो रियलिस्ट लाइक विल स्टार्ट विथ यू. एक तो कि ये जो पूरा मूव है और ये जो पूरा सेटअप चेंज कर रहे हैं, जो पहली बात तो कितना, व्हाट डज इट टेक टू सॉर्ट ऑफ पिवट फ्रॉम बीटीसी माइनिंग टू एआई, लाइक इन जस्ट टर्म्स ऑफ टेक्निकल सेटअप.
so like you mentioned, it is actually a misnomer.
ओके.
Technically, it is not possible because when so miners, so it's basically when you're mining BTC, your system requires a particular setup, right? And the systems that these people use are essentially ASIC systems,
या.
in which the only thing that so like an ASIC is pretty much like a computer, but in a computer there are 10 things that you can do. You can write email, you can chat, you can play
या.
games, you can download Microsoft Excel and all of that. ASICs does only one thing, and that because that's it's essentially to sort of optimize your energy usage, right?
या.
बिकॉज अगर आप एक सिस्टम में लगा दोगे, अब ऑब्वियसली एक पर्सनल बंदा तो अपने सिस्टम में भी माइन कर सकता था, पहले लोग यही करते थे, बट
या.
अगर आप इंडस्ट्रियल स्केल पे कर रहे हो, and there are only two things that you need, which is essentially land and energy, and you need that energy for compute power and you need that energy for cooling, right? तो
या.
ये टेक्निकली इम्पॉसिबल है क्योंकि वो जो सिस्टम्स इंप्लॉय करते हैं ये लोग, दैट सिस्टम कैन ओनली डू वन थिंग एंड दैट इज माइन बीटीसी, दैट्स इट. And there is nothing in AI that you can mine per se, right? So the only thing that they are essentially doing is they are utilizing because see, in लोगों ने अब क्या किया था, because they were in the business of mining BTC, they needed land and energy. तो लैंड या तो तुमने लीज पे लिया या तो तुमने खरीद लिया, दोनों में से एक ही चीज है, या तुम्हारा अपना लैंड पड़ा है तुमने उसको यूज कर लिया, राइट?
या.
If it's a lease, then you've obviously negotiated very long term leases so that your PNL from mining is very sort of not predictable, but there is some, it's probabilistic. You can sort of figure it out on where you will land up based on the price of BTC post halving, right? And on the energy side, they also execute a lot of long-term energy contracts, right? Because again, you can't have like wild spikes in energy because the end asset that you are mining is also a very volatile asset. So because they had these long-term land contracts or their own land, the land parcels, and they have these long-term energy contracts. Now they're thinking, yeah, what better can I use my land and my energy for? So now they're essentially striking these data center deals, right? With a lot of these high-funded AI startups. उससे हो क्या रहा है कि because अब इनके पास इतना पैसा है and they need data centers, more and more data centers, right?
Yeah.
अब लोग बोल रहे हैं अंडर सी डेटा सेंटर, आउटर स्पेस डेटा सेंटर्स. Data centers are all that you need essentially. And of course, you need a lot of compute power. But let me tell you this much that this compute power cannot be built overnight. You need to, there is a lot of investment which goes into building this compute power. I haven't seen much news, although I mean, like Narkoti can probably present some other data point, but I haven't seen much news about these BTC mining companies investing in AI compute, right? It doesn't make sense for them to do it because they're not really building their own LLM models, right? So they don't
Yeah.
need that compute power. What they essentially need is they need to provide these AI companies who are essentially building their LLMs, who need to crunch a lot of data, who need to store all of that data locally. They're essentially providing them with data centers. That's what
Data.
they're doing. And they're, like you mentioned, either they're doing that hybrid model, जहाँ पे भाई 80% डेटा सेंटर एआई को दे दिया बिकॉज वहां से पैसे आ रहे हैं अभी बढ़िया
Yeah.
उनको डील्स मिल रही है उनको रेंटल डील्स मिल रही है
Yeah.
बिलियन डॉलर डील्स मिल रही है एंड सीन क्या है दैट समथिंग एंड लाइक नरकोटी मेंशन सम ऑफ दीज आर एक्चुअली public listed mining companies, right?
Yeah.
So something that Wall Street also prefers, they like predictable revenue, right? So if you have a long-term contract on energy, which is your input cost, you have a long-term contract on your land contract, which is your input cost, your revenue is essentially again a long-term contract which has been executed by a proper company instead of the wild west of crypto. So Wall Street also likes that. So these companies are, I mean, these companies are forcing to pivot, are being forced to pivot because Wall Street will also give them better multiples, right? Because abhi kya hai ki their entire performance is very linked to BTC, and in all, and what we've seen right now is even though BTC price goes up or down or whatever, for them the mechanics is very different because something that we are seeing is uh, there's obviously a pre-halving and a post-halving dynamic, right? Like
Yeah.
pre-halving, obviously the dynamics are very different because price is different and the amount of BTC that you're mining per block is very different,
Very
right?
different.
And obviously then you're playing the game key by how can my I mean how can my compute power be more and more sort of trump the other person and I can sort of mine most BTC from that particular block. Post halving kya ho gaya? Abhi obviously price is also tepid, right? Price is completely subdued. And at the same time, your reward per block has also gone down,
Yeah.
right? So people are not being, so for them, they end up underperforming BTC price action, especially even if BTC stays flat and there is a slight dynamic change in reward per block going down and the price remaining tepid, their sort of P&L statement gets hit very badly. So इसीलिए they are being forced to pivot किया है. इधर वाइल्ड वेस्ट है यहाँ पे देयर इज समथिंग मोर प्रिडिक्टेबल लॉन्ग टर्म रेवेन्यू लॉन्ग टर्म इनपुट कॉस्ट in sort of check. I can build a more sustainable business from this perspective, so which is why they are pivoting. But the pivot does not mean they are using the same systems to delegating it to AI, because delegation of AI doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Why will you need compute? You will need compute if you are doing something on your system, right? Or if you're building an LLM model of your own, or if you're building an agent of your own. Like भाई तुम क्लॉडबॉट टाइप का कुछ चला रहे हो. कुछ दिन पहले
Yeah.
आर्टिकल देख रहा था that the क्लॉडबॉट guy is actually spending, I think, a huge amount of money, more than he's actually making from it, in just
Yeah.
sustaining the operations for it, right? So unless or until you do something, which is something that these people are not in, right? They are not in that business. They are not in the end software business. तो अल्टीमेटली ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, इनके पास जमीन था, एनर्जी था, ये उसको बेटर यूटिलाइज कर रहा है. इट इज प्रैक्टिकली इम्पॉसिबल टू यूज दैट सेम एसिक सिस्टम फॉर एनीथिंग एआई टू बी. दैट सिस्टम कैन ओनली डू वन थिंग, only mine BTC. It is like a computer which can only run one program. That's it. So you technically can't use it for anything else.
Got it. नरकुंडी, numbers please. क्या चल रहा है प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी और ये सब को लेके?
So, see, तीन चीज़ें हैं. One, on the companies like Marathon, Heart, ये सब, especially because they're public companies, there's a lot more pressure on them. Not for
Yeah.
next bull cycle. They're looking at quarterly results.
Yeah.
Even if you miss by few decimals in terms of analyst expectations, your stock takes a massive beating.
Yeah.
So, public company, it's one of the evils that you have to live with. That you can have a great vision, but you're looking at this quarter, you're looking at monthly results. So that changes the equation for the big time players when it comes to where to put in the capital and obviously what forward looking statements they give. So that's on the public companies front. Now, second, in terms of the FUD that that okay, BTC miners are abandoned, everything is doom and gloom. I think as soon as BTC price goes down, all the theories they come out into play. अभी हम लोग ने उसको ही डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि इज एप्स्टीन सतोशी उसके पहले
Yeah.
कुछ और था उसके पहले कुछ हो गया क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग आ रहा क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग आ रहा है Dude, if quantum computing comes, it's not going to come after BTC only. Everything will be impacted.
Yeah.
Banking, everything can be then drained out through brute force. Then, so it's like every time there's FUD, like it just comes out and like everybody then just joins the bandwagon and says ki ye ho hi raha hai. So that's on that front. Now, in terms of activity is still at an all-time high. So the number of guesses that are happening in cracking in cracking the BTC compute part, so that's at an all-time high. So it's 712 exahashes. So which is 1 trillion hashes or 1 trillion guesses for finding that compute part is 1 terahash. When you put an exahash, it's 1,000 trillion. Looking at last 12 months, activity is at an all-time high. It's not stopped. Now, partly that has happened because the machines have gotten much better. So, as a realist was talking about the S6 models, so you have S19, S21. These models are almost 50% efficient, sorry, 100% more efficient than what the S19 2021 models were, which means they can, for the same amount of energy, you can get double the work done from them. So the investment that the miners also putting into this is in getting better equipment so that you can do more, you can have more higher hash rate. That's on that for now. On the AI part, yes, AI is more profitable for them, but when it comes, I think if anybody has learned any lesson from this cycle is that diversification is good. It's not, it might be boring, but it works. So same goes for miners as well. Now, if they are able to make much more USD per megawatt hour, you can expect that right now, while the AI craze is happening, where everyone is looking for those energy needs, they will diversify into it. The good part is that if they continue to stay in BTC and the hash rate continues happening, the profits that can then come from earnings of AI that can go back into BTC, assuming that they're still bullish on BTC for next 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, whenever the next bull run happens. So that's the positive part. And I think when people spread FUD, it's like, okay, everything is abandoned. If everything abandoned, then how do you have more hash rate at an all-time high? So I think we need to look at it more objectively and think that, okay, from miners perspective, that some of these companies are public, there is an AI massive demand out there. So yes, you can expect them to participate in this and diversify their earning model, which makes them more Wall Street friendly, which makes them more, as a public stock, retail friendly. And I think there's no harm in that as long as the network is more secure. Um, it's a good long-term decision for everybody that they are able to get those earnings from those extra pieces of activity and then put it back into BTC.
Got it. So एक और चीज है इसमें कि it's not just these public listed companies, right? ये तो सिर्फ US की हैं and they're like one sort of percentage in a big 100% जो तुम्हारा चार्ट है उसमें कि ये बस they represent a significant amount but like a small significant amount of people miners that are mining BTC. There are a lot of state actors involved and global उस पे तो उनका तो I don't think कि वो लोग those guys are like just कि shut down करेंगे उनको जरूरत क्या है? They're all state funded then realist.
I think जब last मैंने देखा था for BTC mining, I think BlackRock, they had even bought one of the BTC mining firms. I'm not sure what was the name, but um, corporate level BTC mining is now, I think, more than 80% of it. So they are calling the shots when it comes to it.
Got it.
Yes, you have maybe two cycles back. One cycle back was completely different before Wall Street entered in, but now with BlackRock coming in, they're obviously owning the investors part, the ETFs, they're owning the supply and the mining part as well. So that gives them a lot more control in it.
because you have what I was reading that you have Bhutan, UAE is also gotten into BTC mining, and China, Russia में भी चालू हो गया है because Russian, I don't know if you
Hmm.
guys saw कि Russia also started becoming crypto friendly, like कि अब हम BTC mining शुरू कर देंगे. As soon as they open, per their daily transactions are like almost $650 million in a day. So I'm guessing कि वहाँ पे और भी mining. Plus one of the things that helps them is also the temperature, right? कि colder temperature में ये जो equipment रहता है ये गर्म नहीं होता है ज़्यादा, so उसको
Hmm.
cooling करने के लिए वो कम पैसे लगते हैं. So that is also a thing. So what I'm trying to say is कि are you saying कि ये जो पूरा जो BTC mining है, this is majorly controlled by just private miners or these companies in the US, or a big chunk of them is also like spread out globally जो वो लोग जहाँ पे लोग कर रहे हैं वो.
I'm not sure. I
Definitely.
don't have country level data, but realist, what do you say?
So I actually, so before I jump out of this, I think yes, I would think that there is a fair bit of state involvement as well. What Nav is sort of pointing to, and I kind of feel that this is kind of those moments where I think it is going to become, or it's going to start making a lot of sense for states to get into BTC mining because that's one corporation that doesn't have to give any P&L report, right? They don't
Yeah.
have a P&L statement, right? They don't care about profits. They can just sort of endlessly keep allocating cost without it turning a net profit. Like any corporation, like Narkundi mentioned that yes, big corporations were doing it, but now those big corporations are definitely under the thumb of Wall Street, right? So they will eventually have to pivot. And I like the point that he mentioned that later on, if say things and dynamics improve, they can sort of plow back whatever they made from AI. They can sort of plow that back into BTC mining. But the thing here is the cost of leaving, right? Because because I'll tell you the thing with compute is I think it's capitalism in its purest. It's sort of meritocratic capitalism in its purest sense, right? And that's what happens in BTC mining because Narkodeep mentioned a point that hash rates are high. It's because a lot of these miners had already pre-ordered their rig upgrades, right? And those upgrades they started showing up since Jan, Feb, December. That's when those deliveries started happening, and they started plugging them in. This is before they might have made certain decisions to sort of pivot, right? So those upgrades are now sort of kicking in. Pivots don't happen overnight. They'll probably do it over the next 6 months. So currently, anyway, hash rate is high because machines are also sort of getting better, right? So that directly contributes to the hash rate going up. Other than that, what I kind of feel is the thing with existing miners, right? And I believe uh, things are being subdued right now in order to sort of drive them out of business in a way, because it becomes easier for states to come in. It becomes easier for corporations for whom this profit does not matter, right? So they can do it even at cost or even below cost because they have a different motive in mind. It's an opportunistic moment for these kind of actors to come in and come in more deeply. So, like you mentioned, states were already involved. Now, I think is the right time for more guys to enter because such a situation is actually going to drive away a lot of existing miners away from this space. So, like I said, it becomes more and more conducive since it becomes less competitive because it becomes less competitive to mine because in this particular case the price does not matter so much. It's because the corporations who will now enter, for them that profitability does not matter, right? So I think this is a very interesting time. But the thing with BTC miners is the cost of leaving versus the cost of coming back is extremely high because once you're out, right, for you to come back, because at that time obviously your machines will cost more, right, because they will have upgraded a lot more in the next 1 year or 2 years, because it's not that BTC mining is going out of business, it's going to stay, right? Who focuses on it is going to be very, very different. So cost of rigs will go up. If you sort of and again at that particular point of time, for you to sort of come in with higher compute than the net average compute of the people who are sort of existing or still doing mining, for you to trump that and get a piece of the pie is going to be extremely high. The amount of investment in compute is going to be much, much higher if you sort of leave right now and then come back 1 or 2 years later. Because over this course of 1 or 2 years, you wouldn't have mined any BTC to sort of maybe dollar cost average your balance sheet. So I think that is an interesting aspect to look at. I mean, I don't really have numbers in terms of how this is going to pan out, but from the top of my mind, I think these will be concerns. So I think this is more of a coordinated move to sort of drive these people out and sort of put it in more sovereign hands, is what I kind of feel. And sovereign, I would be surprised if sovereign and like you mentioned, state involvement increases now that existing miners start going out of business or start pivoting, and they start coming in because they won't really care about profit and loss. They just mine if they have to. Simple as that.
Got it. I mean, this would not be like a proper comparison, but we can compare it with like sort of crude oil जैसे टाइप की इंडस्ट्री है, राइट? इसमें स्टेट भी इन्वॉल्व है एंड यू हैव योर प्राइवेट कॉर्पोरेशंस आल्सो इन्वॉल्व एंड डे बाय डे जो क्या बोलते हैं क्रूड ऑयल निकालने का जो तरीका है, जो एफिशिएंसी है और जिसकी कॉस्ट है, वो बढ़ती जा रही है और कॉस्ट कम होती जा रही है। इसमें भी जब मैं
Yeah,
बीटीसी में भी अगर देख रहा था, सो more and more companies are like, 55% of BTC that is mined is being done by using clean energy, right? And
yeah,
like you said, like you mentioned कि जो systems भी हैं वो more and more efficient हो रहे हैं, इसलिए hash rate भी बढ़ रहा है. So there will be
correct.
a sort of point in time, जैसे क्रूड के इंडस्ट्री के अपने हम लोग देखते हैं, प्राइसिंग की बात करते हैं कि इतने के नीचे प्रॉफिटेबल हो जाता है, इतने के नीचे, बट दैट स्टिल इंडस्ट्री स्टिल रिमेन्स, राइट? कि इट डजंट गो एनीवेयर, कि अगर कभी प्राइस नीचे भी गिर गई तो पीपल आर देयर, मे बी रिग्स थोड़े रिग्स कम कर देंगे, तो उसमें भी लाइक
Yeah,
बीटीसी में भी ऐसे ही चलेगा इन लाइक लॉन्ग टर्म सॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम फ्रेम जो मैं देख रहा हूँ. आई मीन
absolutely.
या
Absolutely. No, no, you're absolutely right. That's where we'll probably end up. So this mix of it being very private heavy, although like you mentioned, there is definitely a lot of state involvement, but it's going to become more and more formalized, and a lot of states will also sort of get in. Things will change. Yeah, and if they're thinking about putting up data centers in space, I don't see why we can't put BDC mining in space.
या
Yeah, just keep on extracting solar from there. The energy is what you need, and land is free up there. It's just the cost
या
of sending up the satellite and sort of maintaining it. Just send it up there and keep mining it. Simple
या
as that.
रेड मारना भी मुश्किल हो जाएगा.
हाँ, and कोई एक जियो स्टेशनरी सैटेलाइट के साथ कोई अपलिंक करके तुम I don't know, just keep transferring BTC from there, I guess. Or I don't know.
यार
और the space station टाइप में कुछ बना दो एक BTC माइनिंग स्टेशन.
इलॉन ने वैसे भी वो रॉकेट तो बना ही लिया है जो वापस से आप रीयूज कर सकते हो थोड़े दिन
Yeah,
में. क्या कितनी बार, लाइक आई डोंट नो, आई वाज रीडिंग कि कुछ 30 या 40 टाइम्स उन्होंने एक ही रॉकेट यूज रीयूज
Wow.
किया है. सो इतना एफिशिएंट हो गया. सो इज लाइक यार आप सोचो, इलॉन मस्क का मैं सुन रहा था इंटरव्यूज, ही वाज लाइक कि जस्ट थिंक, if someone someday to someone one day told you that once you sit in an aeroplane and go from one place to another and you have to then just chuck the aeroplane, तो वो कभी उसका कॉस्ट क्या रहता है,
yeah,
कभी एयर ट्रैवल हो ही नहीं
correct,
पाता. तो
correct.
इसमें रॉकेट्स में भी यही है कि एंड
Hmm.
ऑफ द डे यू हैव टू कम टू अ पॉइंट कि आप वो सेम रॉकेट बार बार यूज कर रहे हो. One thing about
Correct.
him is कि he's the only one who's figured it out. Even with so many countries doing it, he's the only one that
Yeah,
figured it out.
yeah.
Yeah. ठीक है, चलो लेट्स सी कि आज मार्केट में क्या चल रहा है थोड़ा. Yeah. So पहले तो मैं एक ये दिखा दो देखो. Donald Trump has been reportedly been fuming all weekend over how everyone keeps calling his administration the Epstein administration.
I wonder why.
ठीक है. So strategy plans to convert 6 billion in convertible debt into equity over 3 to 6 years, providing a buffer against debt even if BTC drops further. I think जो वो देख रहे थे कि $8,000 भी चले गया BTC तो they're okay.
Correct.
Hmm.
Yeah. तो हमने तो डिस्कस किया अगर $0 भी चले जाए तो they're okay, right? कि उनको किसको क्या देना है.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if he just converts all of this to equity,
Yeah.
like he's doing, right? Because I think we were discussing कि कुछ शायद ऐसे बॉन्ड थे जो नॉन कन्वर्टेबल थे, बट अगर कन्वर्टेबल बॉन्ड्स है, हाँ बस यार एक्सरसाइज करा के उसको कन्वर्ट करा लो, और क्या। आई मीन, बट आई थिंक the holder of the paper has to exercise it in order to convert it to
Yeah,
equity. So he'll basically go and speak to them and say, "क्या कर?"
yeah. And there are most of them
Because वो
like
बोलेगा मैं वापस तो करूंगा नहीं तुम्हें पैसे,
yeah,
मैं तो ये बीटीसी नहीं बेच रहा हूं। अब तुम पे है कि तुमको मेरे से लड़ना है, क्योंकि मैं तो उठा के फेंक दूंगा, जला दूंगा मैं अपना, जहां पे भी मैंने अपने बीटीसी स्टोर करके रखे हुए हैं। तो अगर तुम चाहते हो कि मैं ये सब ना करूं, just convert it to equity. So I think he's
yeah,
going to muscle them into converting it. And the people who are sort of holding MSTR, they have no other choice. But I still feel this is going to pass, right? I think these are mispriced opportunities. Share is going to go through the roof. Even BMNR, which is
yeah.
Bitcoin. So yeah.
Yeah, so he's now again teasing another buy coming. जब भी
ओ
ऑरेंज
भाई,
डॉट चलता है वो तो कि मैं और खरीदूंगा. So, हाँ, so yeah,
What a
Harvard
guy,
is
man.
now, yeah, what a guy, right? जिगर जी है यार ऐसा काम करने के लिए.
हाँ.
Like,
Like
Harvard
built
is now,
differently.
yeah, Harvard is rotating capital to ETH, so they sort of trimmed their Bitcoin ETF stake by 21%, and they bought ETH ETF.
I wouldn't be
Yeah, 20,
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
आई
I
थिंक
wouldn't be
फिगर्स भी
surprised.
था इसका, लाइक 21 मिलियन के आसपास से लोग ने ईथ ईटीएफ्स में डाला है।
got it. So I don't know अगर ये तुमने देखा तो this was like a big news today, and I didn't read through it. He wrote a very big article, man. Ray
तो कब
Dalio,
से बोल रहे हैं?
yeah, it's like कि आज उसने he wrote like an article about post 1945 world and how it's all breaking
Yeah,
down.
changing world order. Yes, very famous
Changing,
मल्टीलैटरलिज्म
book.
वर्सेस
yeah,
यूनिलैटरलिज्म ये सब वो बोल रहे हैं।
Yeah, and
and
apparently, as per him, we are in stage 6 of the world
हम्म,
order collapsing.
yeah, and it's like a pre-war world now कि अब एक और
Yeah.
हो सकता है कि war आ जाएगा तो वापस to again sort of go into that whole restart. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see, man.
Let's see. Again, like
Let's
I said,
see,
dude,
bro. Yeah.
I've
Go
been
on,
having
man.
so
Yeah.
much doom fatigue, man. Like जहाँ देखो बस यही बोलते रहते हैं कि दुनिया कैसे
Very
जा रही
good
है,
point. I'm
खत्म
going to use
होगी.
that. I'm going to use that somewhere. Doom fatigue. Doom fatigue. I
Yeah,
think we are seeing a lot of doom fatigue. I
yeah,
think. I think even the commodity cycle. I think there's still some more room left for gold and silver, but over there also we will see doom fatigue.
yeah,
This de-dollarization doom fatigue.
yeah. ठीक है. US housing market has reached its most unaffordable level in history.
ऑफ कोर्स।
So yes. PayPal makes Solana its default network for stablecoin payments. So PayPal has selected
Why?
Solana as default blockchain for processing transactions with its stablecoin PYUSD. Again, PYUSD लोग use करेंगे या सिर्फ, yeah, I mean, it originally launched on Ethereum as an ERC20 token. PayPal then expanded PYUSD to
But
Solana.
why?
अब
Why?
उन्होंने who knows, man.
How much has Solana paid them from the foundation?
Yeah,
Because I really
that
don't get it. Like, I honestly do not get it. If I were in a boardroom today in a corporate and somebody would say that let's chart out our strategy, that we want to enter the blockchain world and we want to enter the Web3 world, just like if you want to build infra, build in L2 or just launch on ETH. I don't get why you would pick Solana. Why? Like you want to use PYUSD to trade meme tokens because that's going to be the only use case.
I don't know, man. Like
बट
again,
जूप यूएसडी जो जुपिटर ने भी एक अपना स्टेबल कॉइन निकाला, उसका
yeah,
ही अडॉप्शन नहीं हो रहा है यार, तब ये क्या करेंगे? क्या फालतू है ये सब, इट्स
it's
जीरो का
क्रैप।
है 4 बिलियन एम कैप फॉर पे पी वाई यूएसडी
PayPal.
सो फार पेपैल
या
पे है।
4 बिल आउट ऑफ दैट 4 बिल ईथ पे अभी कितना पड़ा हुआ है? इफ यू कैन सॉर्ट ऑफ चेक डीफाई लामा, उसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन क्या है 4 बिल का?
ओ इथेरियम 73%, सोलाना 20%।
Yeah, that 20% also is a waste. Why would you need it? Unless like you can just buy PYUSD from your PayPal account and they expect that what will people do? They will just on ramp and buy meme tokens from it. So if
or
that's what they're
use or use PYUSD on PayPal to pay for stuff. Like I mean, I'm guessing that is what they want, right? For PYUSD, that is why they're not using USDT, USDC, or anything. कि-
yeah, but then pay for what with PYUSD?
नहीं, but अभी जैसे PayPal किस चीज में अगेन दे आर बेटिंग ऑन कि आगे जाके सब स्टेबल कोइन ही यूज करेंगे
Acha, you are
तो
saying
हम
like everything will be on the blockchain eventually,
या
and
या
like you'll use PYUSD. But I think there's a different sort of adoption play to stablecoins working rather than just it being used for regular payments. And us case में भी यार, why would I keep PYUSD? Because if I want USDT, which is more widely used, or a USDC, तुम मेरे को PYUSD पे पैसे दोगे, मैं उसको फिर सोलाना से ब्रिज करना पड़ेगा। ब्रिजिंग किसी को आती नहीं है।
या
यूएसडीसी यूएसडीटी इतना लिक्विडिटी होगा नहीं सोलाना पे कभी। क्या ही करूंगा मैं सोलाना पे जी के।
that is one of the things that ये स्टेबल कॉइन वाले इश्यूअर्स हैं जो अदर देन यूएसडीटी यूएसडीसी जो सब अपना स्टेबल कॉइन निकाल रहे हैं वो यही एक चीज पे बेट करे कि हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे हमारा स्टेबल कॉइन यूज होगा दैट इज द वन थिंग दैट they want to do. I mean,
Mm.
which makes no sense because if
Yeah,
everyone
it's
is
a.
you, yeah,
I think there needs to be a better way of thinking about this solution. This is
yeah,
definitely not the solution कि मैं अपना ही स्टेबल कॉइन चलाऊंगा।
yeah. ठीक है यूएस एम्प्लॉयमेंट फिगर्स सी मैसिव 1 मिलियन डाउनवर्ड करेक्शन या सो ये हम पिछले बार एक्चुअली हमने पहले भी बात करी है कि आफ्टर एवरी जॉब्स रिपोर्ट नेक्स्ट जॉब रिपोर्ट से पहले एक रिवीजन आ रहा था सो ओवर द ईयर इन्होंने अब ये इसका देखा तो 1 मिलियन डाउनवर्ड रिवीजन हुआ है लास्ट ईयर में सो दैट्स लाइक अ
Interesting.
ह्यूज नंबर या
Huge number.
हाँ तो ईरान इज सेट कि हम स्टेट ऑफ हॉर्मूज में अब
अरे
ड्रिल कर रहे
यार
हैं so they've
Mariano,
started as yeah they've already started drills like this has been widely reported everywhere on multiple sort of news channels as well.
they fire real missiles in major oil. क्या है ये? कुछ नहीं है.
Yeah, scammers are sending fake physical letters posing as ledger and trezor urging users to scan QR codes and enter their recovery phases. ठीक है भाई.
जो यूजर ये कर रहा है,
Letter,
that user does not deserve to be holding any crypto.
dear sir slash ma'am, please.
So it's like the so uh, अभी जैसे हमारे पेरेंट्स हैं या उनको वो अभी दे स्टिल प्रोन टू द सॉर्ट ऑफ डिजिटल बैंकिंग स्कैम्स राइट कि लोग बोलते हैं
Yeah,
तो वैसे जो तेरे नए यूजर्स होंगे नए नए आए होंगे इसमें इंस्टेड ऑफ यूजिंग लाइक ऑब्वियसली दे लाइक हम एक्सचेंज पे नहीं रखेंगे क्योंकि हमने सुना है कि एक्सचेंज
correct,
पे कस्टडी आपकी नहीं रहती है यू नो सो
correct.
कूल हम अपने लिए लेजर अलग से लाके हमारे बिटकॉइंस उसमें रखेंगे फिर वो उसके
हाँ,
बाद उसके
Damn.
बाद फिर ये होता है यार
Oof.
ऑलराइट ठीक है नरकुंडी इज देयर एनीथिंग दैट यू वांट टू ऐड एनी प्रेडिक्शन कुछ गिराना है कुछ चढ़ाना है तेरे को
तो ऑलरेडी गिर गया वापस 68 पे आ गया तो
तो और
मैं तो अपना काम कर ही रहा हूँ.
क्या काम कर रहे है तू दिल से बोल यार ऐसे छुपा मत जो तेरे मन में आए वो बोल
मेगा बुल सीजन सुपर साइकिल उसके लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहा हूँ सबको.
this doesn't feel sincere bro okay I'll try in the next episode all right please like share subscribe and leave some comments we'll see you tomorrow thank you so much for joining us good
see you
night
guys.
and adios
चलो बाय.